What's good, boys and gals? As you can clearly see behind me, I have hundreds of orders for my clothing brand. And in this video, I'm pretty much going to be explaining to you pretty much exactly how I consistently sell out my clothing brand as a student in college. It's no secret, I've done over 6 figures with my clothing brand. I've documented it pretty well on my YouTube channel. And I usually sell out whenever I do a drop for my clothing brand pretty consistently. People constantly DM me, how do I sell out my clothing brand? How do I market my clothing brand? How do I get my clothing brand like yours? How do I get new customers? Well, hopefully I will answer all these questions for you in this video or give you an idea on how to go about it. I'm going to go over some stuff I personally did that helped me get to the position I am currently at with my clothing brand. And if you don't know who I am GrailJoel. I am the owner of Amaurosis. I took Amaurosis to over 6 figures while being a college student. Just know I'm a regular college student, probably just like you. I'm not an influencer. I don't come from money. My family's not rich. I didn't have any connections in the clothing brand space when I first started. So pretty much I'm literally just like you. In fact, my day-to-day life is probably something similar to you. I still go to school. I still do my assignments. I still study for tests. I just have my clothing brand stuff on the side as I focus on my schoolwork. As I get into this video, the first thing you need to know is you need to do less watching and more doing. I know it's a bit ironic considering you are watching this video, but after you watch this video, I actually do want you to go take some type of action of what I'm going to tell you do shortly. Speaking from personal experience, it's very easy to consume like 30, 40 videos on exactly what to do, how to do it, when to do it, exactly step by step by step. And then you don't really take any action towards doing it, or like you're very much procrastinating doing it. I want you guys to actually do it. Simply watching others and taking zero action is never going to get you to where you need to be. Nobody's going to build your clothing brand for you. Nobody's going to build your business for you. So before you even do anything I'm going to tell you, you need to have the mindset that you actually need to go out and actually do the stuff that you need to do. And no, I am not saying you need to have a schedule of doom, waking up at 6:30 a.m. sharp and do everything for 12 hours straight. The people who succeed actually win out and got it day by day by day. They show up every single day. The truth is, it is pretty hard to lose if you don't give up day by day, month by month, year by year. The people who are at the top, the people who you look up to, probably did not give up in the first year. They just kept going even through all the L's, all the losses, all the frustration. They just kept going. And I want to say that if you just don't give up, that already puts you in like the top 20% of people who want to do something anyways. So that's just the hard truth, that you have to show up every single day. That's just how it is. The first major step in selling out your clothing brand is just being realistic when it comes to your design. A lot of brands approach me asking me why their design is not selling when their design is literally just a blank with their logo on it. You have to ask yourself, why would someone buy your clothes? Why would someone buy from your brand? You're at the bottom of the food chain when you first start your brand. There's no reason you need to have a blank hoodie with just your logo and you have 10 followers. Your logo literally does not mean anything of value to anybody if you are under 100K followers. That's just the truth. This means your designs need to be actually unique. You need to make some actual unique garments. What type of unique utility does it have? What type of unique fit does it have? What type of unique wash does it have? What type of unique features does it have that makes your brand clothing stand out compared to the others at the bottom of the food chain with you? On top of your design having all these unique features, you also need to make sure your design fits into a target audience or a niche. I have a good saying that I got from somebody else. I'm just going to steal it. That is, if you're marketing to everybody, you are marketing to nobody. You need to find your niche and make a unique design for this niche, so you're able to market to this niche, you're able to cater to this niche. And that is the way you're going to blow your clothing brand up. You need to figure out what makes your brand different. There's already a million baby single stitch LATs. There's already a million selvage denim based brands. There's also a million rhinestone ATL type of brands. You need to find your stick and bring something refreshing to this stick, or at least take ideas from different niches and combine them into one garment to make your garment stand out. It's a hard thing to do when you're first beginning with your clothing brand, but as you show up day by day, as you continue working on your brand, you will find things that you can add to your clothing pieces that actually make it good, actually make it stand out. And this just comes with practice. You are not going to ideally understand this in the first 2 weeks of working with your brand unless you're just him. I take it 95% of you guys are not like some crazy maestro of clothing design. That's just how it is. When you have an actual good design for your clothing piece that is actually unique with good material, good quality, good fit, good everything, everything, this makes your marketing a million times easier. And this is where a lot of brands struggle, but they don't know they're struggling on this because their product is bad. When you have a good product, it makes marketing for your clothing brand a billion times easier. In fact, the product will dang near market itself because it's so good and interesting. It will naturally gather people to comment, like, share it, because it's an actual unique garment. And that's what you want. You want to design a piece that is naturally shareable, naturally getting comments, good feedback. That is ultimately what's going to blow up your brand, your product in the first place. Sure, you could have some insane marketing that blows up your clothing brand. 70% of the time a clothing brand blows up, it is initially because they brought something new to the table, whether it comes with like a unique design piece, just something different about their brand, whether it's marketing or design wise. And it's usually design wise, it's something different. That's what you need to take in mind at the end of this video. If you don't take anything else from this video, just keep in mind that you need a design that has some type of wow factor to it in order to make some really nice sales with your brand. If you know you're not going to have any crazy marketing. A lot of clothing brands struggle with marketing, but it really comes down to who is winning in your niche and why they are winning in your niche. You really need to study the people who you look up to, these brands, and study why their videos are winning. Is it their product? Is it the way they display their products on the floor? Is it the way they display their products on a model? Like, why exactly is this brand winning? And you should be studying their content very closely. You should be picking out at least 4 to 5 brands and you study their content religiously, because when you study their content and how they're winning, you can apply it to your brand and see different ways you can twist the content, different ways you can apply your own little sauce to it so you can start winning with your brand and your products. I want to highly encourage anybody who is watching this video to stop taking your clothing brand videos in your dark bedroom, your dark living room, I don't know, with terrible lighting. You need to actually go out to your city or go out to a location and take content for your clothing brand. Just anywhere that's not like dimly lit or flat lighting so you can actually display your clothing. I know a lot of you guys are on a tight budget. You don't have money for a studio. You don't have money to hire models. If you have some type of income, save up to book a studio for a couple hours. If you have friends who are free, make them willing to model your clothing pieces. This is super important for your clothing brand when it comes to your marketing. Some of the content you want to be getting for your clothing brand that is super important is flat lay content, on body content, lifestyle type of content, and they're very good for running ads on. And you want to edit all your clothing brand content to be evenly paced. You don't want to have like 3 to 5 seconds of dead space. This will get a lot of people to scroll off your video if you just have multiple seconds of dead space. And like I said, you want to have good lighting. You also want to have good hooks for your videos. Give a reason for people to stop scrolling, whether it's you like throwing the clothes on the floor and then showing it nicely, or your models are doing something interesting, just things like that. Get people to stop scrolling on your brand or keep them hooked for the entirety, or at least like 60% of the video. That's what you want. You want people to be hooked for the majority of your short form content for your clothing brand. You should be posting like 3 to 4 times a day across the Instagram Reels and TikTok. And I would especially encourage everybody who's watching this video to use trial reels. Trial reels are especially kind of new. Anyone who has a decent following on their clothing brand on Instagram to use it, because I used a trial reel and I was able to get 1 million views on my trial reel. It blew up, and it's very nice for getting fresh eyes on your clothing brand. And the best part about trial reels is you can literally spam it. You can slightly tweak the video and spam like 3 to 4 of the same reel, except you change the hook or you change the order of the clips. It's very nice for pumping out fast content, and it's very good for getting views for your clothing brand if you're able to do it consistently. But if you don't use trial reels, you should be posting 3x a day on TikTok and Instagram anyways. You should be posting daily for your clothing brand at minimum when you are hyping up a drop. As you are marketing for your clothing brand, you also need to make sure you have systems in place. Systems are very, very important for your clothing brand. And what I mean by systems is automations that make your life easier. Email automations, SMS automations. These are super, super important because you want people to sign up for your email and SMS list so they get an automatic discount. It notifies them of abandoned cart, abandoned checkout. It welcomes them. Like, these automations are super important for your clothing brand, and every clothing brand needs to have them. There's a lot of clothing brand out there that don't use SMS. There's a lot of clothing brand out there that don't use emails when you should be using both of these. Ultimately, both of these automations will bring your clothing brand so much money. One of the most important systems you can have for your clothing brand is Ads. What I mean by ads is I mean TikTok ads and Meta ads. These are paid for posts that you can put across these platforms and gain more customers. This is literally one of the most important automations you can have, because if it weren't for these automations when it comes to ads, I would not be getting this many orders for my clothing brand. Ads allowed me to scale my clothing brand to over 6 figures. Ads are super important. In fact, ads are so important, I'm gonna have to make a separate video on when it comes to ads, because it is a whole different topic. It has its own things that you need to learn about, its own things you need to be aware of when it comes to ads. But ads is super important. It allows you to get new customers quickly. It allows you to make sales consistently. And this will allow you to start selling out like 200, 500, 1,000, 2,000 units without even having to post as much, without even have to do as much work. And one of the things you want as you scale your clothing brand is to do less work. This comes with business in general. You want to be scaling your clothing brand to a point where you're making thousands of dollars a day without sweating so hard from posting constantly, you know, working every day, posting 8 times or 10 times, 20 times a day. You don't need to do all that when you run ads. In fact, when you run ads for your clothing brand, you can go weeks without posting and you're still going to get a consistent $3, $4, $5, $10,000 every single day with your clothing brand. Ads are one of the most important automations ever when it comes to your clothing brand, and I will make a separate video if you guys want that as well. But one of the last topics I'm going to cover in this video is reinvesting into your clothing brand properly. As you start your clothing brand, the idea of profits shouldn't even really cross your mind, because every single dollar you profit is going to go right back into the clothing brand. Well, it should go right back into the clothing brand if you want to scale and grow your clothing brand and consistently sell it out. Me personally, I have not touched any of the profit from my clothing brand. I know that sounds kind of insane and you guys might think I'm lying, but it's true. Like, you guys have never seen me buy a new car. You guys have never seen me take lavish vacations. I don't do any of that. I don't spend any of the money my clothing brand makes. Almost all of the money goes right back into my clothing brand. Now, a lot of you guys are probably gonna be like, well, that's cap. How are you buying all this other stuff? You just bought a camera on the other video. How are you buying that if you're not using any of the money from your clothing brand? Well, I'm not gonna cap. I have other sources of income. If you guys follow my social media, you guys know I run advertisements for other clothing brands. I help other clothing brands with their marketing. So that's the money I use that I gain for myself to spend on whatever I want, whether if I want to take a vacation or like if I want to buy a camera, for example. Like, that's the money I use. But when it comes to my clothing brand, I literally don't touch the money. Like, I see the money go into the account, yes, like it's nice and all, but I literally don't touch it, because I know my clothing brand will be better off if I don't go spend it and buy a Trackhawk or something. The biggest mistake I want you guys to avoid is hitting your first 10K month with your clothing brand and immediately thinking you need to go buy a car, or immediately thinking you need to go like do some crazy stuff for the internet. Like me, I'm a 6-figure clothing brand owner and I don't spend any of the money I gain from the brand. Like, I might as well be running a charity when it comes to my brand, because I literally don't touch the money. I don't touch the money at all. Every dollar your brand makes needs to go right back into the brand. And that's why my brand is doing great, because I know this. I know I need to put most of the money back into the brand in order for it to flourish and grow even further. I want to get to a point where my brand is at 7 figures. Then I'm gonna start, you know, enjoying some of the money I made. But until that point, until I'm close to 7 figures for my brand, I don't think I'm gonna really be touching any of the money I make. This is the type of stuff your brand profit should be going into, like bulk, inventory, influencers. If you need to travel to get into like a photo shoot for your brand, do that. Write it off as a business expense. Don't be spending your brand money on just absolute BS. That is exactly what you want to avoid, because the money is very best used when it's used to grow your clothing brand. At the end of the day though, selling out your clothing brand is literally just comes down to how bad you want it. There's plenty of clothing brand owners who are at the top that simply just outwork their competition. Their designs weren't anything better or crazier than the people who are making, you know, stuff with their own brands. They just were consistent and outworked everybody else. You don't need like super insane unique pieces to make it to the top 1% of clothing brand owners. You really don't need anything crazy. I want to say, for example, Cole Henry is a very good example. His pieces are very clean. I have high respect for him. His pieces are amazing. His marketing is good. But his pieces are not anything like groundbreaking or like super incredibly unique. His pieces are clean, but they're not super incredibly unique and out there like some of these top designers. But Cole Henry is very consistent, and he's marketing almost every single day on his personal brand or on his clothing brand page. Almost all the money he probably makes goes right back into the brand. It's not into anything crazy like lavish vacations for the internet or like kind of just, you know, putting money out there. Oh, I make so much money. He's not like that. That's why I have high respect for him. He's really all about putting the brand first. And that's what a lot of you clothing brand owners should be. You should be putting your brand first at the end of the day. Not everyone is meant to be an entrepreneur, especially in the clothing brand space. It is very stressful. There's a lot of things that can go wrong, whether that's with samples, Folks getting held at customs, your money is being lost, customers are constantly emailing you. It's a very high stress environment, and not everyone is built for this, and that's okay. The people who are built for this and can stick through it are the ones that are going to make it to the top. The people who are just built for it will just go out and get it and rise to the top. That's just how it is. I'm able to sell out my clothing brand because I actually put the effort into product design research, making my products that are actually unique with unique selling points that people actually want to buy. I put effort into marketing. I study my competition. I see what videos are going viral for them. I study how I can apply it to my own brand. I study, advertising techniques. I study the game religiously, and that's why I'm able to sell out. If you are just wishy-washy about your brand, you are not going to make it. Opportunity comes to the people who are consistent, constantly working on their brand, and willing to go out and get it. That's where opportunity comes. And I don't want you guys to watch 40 other videos that are similar to the video you're watching right now. I want you guys to actually lock in after you watch this video and get something done for your brand. Anyone around me can tell you that I'm constantly locked in doing something for my brand, whether I am making ads, working on content, working on products, strategizing, whatever for my brand. Anyone can tell you I am literally every single day, whether I'm in school or not, I'm locked in on something for my brand. Every single day, one thing for your brand. It is so important you do this. But that's pretty much it, guys. I want to thank you guys for showing so much love to my last vlog, my 100K drop vlog. I really appreciate all the love I got on that video. It's actually very incredible. But the last thing I want to mention before I go ship these orders is if you have a clothing brand or you are wanting to start a clothing brand, make sure to join my free Discord down below. It's filled with 1,000+ clothing brand owners who are talking there every single day. So make sure to go join that if you need some help with your clothing brand. But until then, guys, I'm going to ship all these orders. I'm going to catch you guys in the next video, though. Peace.